It's been a big year for old Nintendo. A new system has launched and they have tweaked a lot of the ways that they do business, mostly in the profit margin department. But one of these changes included the very Nintendo move of creating a specific app to deliver information rather than just posting it on social media.
On one hand, it's rather delightful to see a trailer for a game without all the gnashing of teeth in the comments section. On the other hand, I just don't really care to check in all that often.
I remember giving it a shot in the lead up to the Bonanza, and they would drip feed the most inconsequential information like a rotating camera or DK making funny faces.
The coolest part for me were the themes.
They had all these neat animations custom made for the app to make launching it feel like an experience. They had themes for all their biggest IP like Mario, Zelda, Pikmin, Animal Crossing, Splatoon, and Kirby.
I was somewhat disappointed there wasn't a DK theme, but there was so much Kong stuff going on at the time, it didn't feel as much of a gut punch as it usually does.
I threw on the Pikmin theme and barely checked the app out as time passed on. Everything changed in December though. Nintendo announced the addition of a Donkey Kong theme. I can't believe Nintendo finally acknowledged Donkey Kong December.
Now there's finally a reason to open the app.
Whenever I do, I'm greeted with some of the slickest animations. Are you seeing this? Are you kidding me? Hey, are you seeing this, Unc?
Oh yeah. Man, I gotta say, like, one of the first ones that really caught my attention, and it's already out now too, is the Diddy Kong one. I was really happy to see him in action again. It was pretty cool doing his little cartwheel, busting through some barrels, hopping off a critter. I don't know, it was nice to see him doing something, because we didn't really get a whole lot of action between him and Dixie in Bonanza, you know. I really liked the Cranky and the phonograph. That was just kind of a fun little nod and reference.
I saw the rest of the animations on Mario Wiki and man, I wouldn't normally make a video about something so small, but that's the thing. This isn't small.
The choices they made in these animations tell a much bigger story. Also, they're just really cool.
Look at the first of the month. You think that's just the intro to Bonanza, but bam! Pauline's there too. The animation is so crisp and clean. What a way to start your month. The second day is even more strange. I thought we'd never see this tubby fella again, but there he is in all his girth. The glorious Frederick. Frederick's in this? Apparently this was a very rarely used render from the tropical freeze days, but the blending of the effects with it look awesome. I thought this was gonna be a big Bonanza advertisement, but already we've got a throwback in here.
I'm glad to see some more retro representation. It's cool to see, because there wasn't a lot of it in Bonanza.
While there's a lot of showcasing of the new DK, there's a nice variety of characters here. I'm waiting for a playable Diddy in-game, but seeing him in action here with the new design is a nice appetizer. Same with Dixie. They are pretty selective with which characters they're using here, which suggests to me that there's something a little deeper going on here. Tiki Tong appears on the 23rd day, which makes sense given his theme park presence. Cranky and Pauline join the rotation, Voidco has a day, Funky has the new Funky Mode meme, and guys, you're not gonna believe this. We got Crocs! Not only is it Donkey Kong December, but it's also apparently Merry Crocmas. We saw a critter earlier in Diddy's animation, but we have this mosh pit of them on this day. Not only that, but on the 15th of December, He Who Shall Not Be Named will appear on Nintendo Today. It is good to see King K. Rool out of Nintendo jail. And what a fun animation.
Obviously, it was great to see K. Rool clapping that big belly.
They also got him on the 30th, waking up like rent is due. I love it. If there's a 31st day of the month, they adapt the Layer Complete dance from Bonanza, which is a really nice touch.
So what does this all mean outside of adding a little sauce to your day? Seeing as this was a big investment to make, this tells us a lot about the direction the DK franchise is heading in. Let's start with the retro enemies.
While Frederick and Tiki Tong could just be some references meant to point you toward the retro duology available on the Nintendo Switch family of systems, I wonder if it means a little more. Not in the sense that those characters will make some sort of grand return, but in the sense that retro might not be out of the jungle quite yet. Prime 4 recently released, which puts retro kind of at a crossroads. They could jump right back in for a prospective Prime 5, but many of Nintendo's premier teams alternate between franchises, even their most important ones. Nintendo EPD5 alternates between Splatoon and Animal Crossing titles, while EPD10 juggles Pikmin and 2D Mario. Even their most prized team, EPD8, buffed up their staffing to develop Donkey Kong Bonanza in between Mario Odyssey and whatever's next for 3D Mario. So we could see retro move in a similar fashion. Metroid is on the come up with renewed effort on Nintendo's part to grow the audience there, but with all the recent focus on Donkey Kong, they will also want a 2D game for the Switch 2 generation to capitalize on the legacy of the country brand.
There's a decent chance that retro will hit DK after this crazy dev cycle they just went through. Prime 4 was a bumpy ride, and they had a canceled project before that, so I think the studio will be assigning find something a little more manageable in scope for their next work.
Their level design from Tropical Freeze is nearly unmatched in the genre. Staying on that path with some new features and characters could prove for a great DK game a few years down the road.
I don't know, maybe it's time for a little more DK. That would be nice.
The other thing going on here is Nintendo's acknowledgement of K. Rool. Given his surprise appearance toward the end of the game, I wasn't sure when they were going to rip the spoiler band-aid off, but here we are. This is happening right around the same time as some much appreciated updates to Mario Kart World, leading me to wonder if it's time for that Donkey Kong tie-in. The voice actors for K. Rool and Void Kong are listed in Mario Kart World's credits, and Nintendo doesn't credit people for nothing. Sometimes they don't even credit you for the game you made. So the names being here is kind of significant. I don't think it's the most wild prediction in the world. Despite being really important characters, Donkey Kong and Pauline had pretty meager offerings in the outfit department of Mario Kart World. The other Kongs have been no stranger to kart racing with Mario, so I think it's a matter of when rather than if they make their appearance in Mario Kart World. The only reason I could see them keeping more Donkey Kong content out of Mario Kart was if they were planning some sort of DK racer in the future. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility with Diddy Kong Racing and Barrel Blast hitting within the same generation as their respective Mario Karts, but I could also just see them throwing all the Donkey Kong stuff in with Mario Kart World to sweeten that pot. While I'm only speculating about Retro picking up the Tiki Torch again, I feel bullish on the probability of more country games in the near future regardless of who makes it.
All the Donkey Kong Country elements are smattered across a bunch of these days as well, and hopefully that's just a nice little tease for what's to come.
Ever since the 1994 debut, they have always kept that word front and center in a lot of Donkey Kong branding, including merchandise and the namesake of the Universal theme park. It's also the genesis of Nintendo's crucial Treehouse team, getting the name and logo from DKC. A lot of the core identifying imagery of the country part of the franchise can be seen in these animations. We got Cranky with the phonograph, DK blasting out of barrels, moving on a minecart, and my favorite, Diddy bursting out of a DK barrel.
I love seeing those two together. I wish we could have seen more of them together in Bonanza, but next game.
This is a signifier that although Bonanza moves in a very different direction for the series in a lot of respects, all the things you love about Donkey Kong Country aren't going anywhere. These classic means of engaging with Donkey Kong's world have become as sacred as kicking turtle shells and stomping on Goombas has been for Mario.
Like, the biggest thing on my wish list for a new 2D DK game, above everything else, is just making it hard. Make it very hard. I don't want it to lose that series signature difficulty. And that is one thing I know that Retro can handle. It would be cool to see them lean into some kind of moody and atmospheric tone as well. I think it was you that was telling me that was actually Retro's sort of initial pitch for Returns, was to kind of lean into some more realistic and kind of moody tone. But they felt it was too similar to Metroid Prime, I guess, right? So they kind of freshened it up.
Yeah, it was a Kiwi Talks thing where one of the developers was like, they had made some art assets and they were like, man, these trees look like Metroid trees. And so they swung in a more cartoony direction. I would probably argue that they swung a little too hard. The pendulum went all the way to the other side, and I'm like, I kind of want to see Donkey Metroid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you there.
The other big thing here is what I've been saying on this channel all year. DK is back on top with the franchises that Nintendo nurtures the most. This is yet another Infinity Stone in the gauntlet of Donkey Kong being so back. What a way to start Donkey Kong December.